It's a test that we can't perform within our own laboratory. So it's actually referred out to an outside lab. We refer it out. So we actually aliquot out a portion of the blood and send it to another lab to perform this particular drug called hemoglobin A1C. And it's a measurement of diabetic issues.
All right. And the results on that?
5.1%, and it was performed by Quest Diagnostics.
And does that finding have any particular meaning to you as a toxicologist?
It doesn't to me. It may to somebody else, but okay. I don't know what it means.
Going next then to oxycodone. Can you describe that test, what it is, and the results, please?
Oxycodone is also known as OxyContin or Percodan as the trade names, and it's an opiate. It's a very potent opiate, and it was not detected as well by Criminalist de Quintana.
Phencyclidine, the next line, can you describe that and the results, please?
Phencyclidine is also known as PCP on the streets, and it was not detected by myself.
And this next line then, the propofol, this is still the heart blood, so this is the test that gave you a numerical result as it relates to the heart blood?
Yes.
All right, can you describe this service and the results, please?
The test was performed by Jamie Lindemuth, and quantitatively, it was 3.2 micrograms per milliliter.
All right. And the last, I'm sorry?
No, I'm sorry.
The last service under heart blood, can you describe that one and the result, please?
Salicylates, also known as aspirin, was tested for and not detected by Criminalist Lindemuth.
All right. Now, does that complete the heart blood testing that was done by your lab?
Yes.
And moving this over then, the proceeding forward then, the next services we're going to be discussing all relate to the hospital blood, in other words, from the vials that were collected at UCLA and hand-delivered to you by Alyssa Fleet?
That's correct.
All right. Then going with the first line, please describe the analysis and the results, please.
It's very similar to the heart blood that I just got done describing. It's testing for acetaminophen or Tylenol. That was not detected. And then the next line would be the barbiturates being not detected.
All right. And then first bases test.
If there's a whole slew of drugs named under bases, and the first one being diazepam or Valium that we detected in the bases, and it was recorded out as present, not assigned a numerical value here because another analyst would be quantitating it elsewhere.
All right, and the next basis service?
Lidocaine was quantitated and given a value of 0.51 micrograms per milliliter by a Yusin Fu.
All right, and then the next individual basis test for meperidine, which you previously identified as Demerol, the results of that?
Basically, the meperidine and its metabolite, normeperidine, was not detected in the hospital blood by a Yusin Fu. And then the next two lines being Zoloft or sertraline and its metabolite, norsertraline, was also tested for and not detected by the same analyst.
Going then to the fourth page of your report, does that continue with the specimen results for the hospital blood?
It continues on page 4.
For hospital blood?
Yes, sir.
And again, Mr. Anderson, going with, well, let's just, you could probably take us through this rather quickly, but for the propofol at the bottom, showing a 4.1 micrograms per milliliter, is every single test that is shown on this page for the hospital blood resulting in none detected?
Yes, it's very similar to the heart blood analysis.
And just to make sure, have you previously described each of these drugs from the prior heart blood and femoral blood descriptions?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So then, with all of you none detected, can you just list off, starting from the drug trazodone, list off each of the drugs where there was no detection as it relates to what's shown here in this report?
Sure. In the basis service, we looked for trazodone. We not detected cocaine and its metabolites, fentanyl, the 7-aminoclonazepam along with clonazepam, oxazepam, temazepam, dicarboxy-THC, methamphetamine, codeine, hydrocodone, hydromorphone, morphine, phencyclidine or PCP, and then the salicylates also being not detected. The only thing detected in the hospital blood on this particular page was the propofol at a level of 4.1 micrograms per milliliter, and the analyst being Cremlis lintamute.
Moving then to the liver specimen, as shown on the same page to the left, and just with the one service showing on this page, a basis service. Can you describe that, please, and the findings?
Sure. We actually only performed 2 tests on the liver, this being one of them on page 4 of 8. The lidocaine was detected at 0.45 micrograms per gram. And the units change because we're reporting out on a solid specimen. So rather than mils per volume, it's grams by weight because of the liver.
And was the liver tested for propofol?
Yes, it was.
Going to page 5 of your report, the uppermost specimen continuing the liver results. Can you describe the findings as it relates to propofol in the liver?
Yes, we detected 6.2 micrograms per gram, and it was conducted by the same analyst who did the propofol for the heart blood and femoral blood, Jamie Lintamut.
And again, as you described with the lidocaine, this is in measurement of grams because it's by weight.
Because the liver is a solid specimen, yes.
And going to the next line, you list medical evidence, it says medical evidence done. So those are results that we'll deal with later. But there was medical evidence tested in this case?
Yes, there was.
All right. Now, the next specimen is, you see here, indicated by stomach contents. That's the gastric contents you mentioned earlier?
Yes.
All right. And as far as the stomach contents, was it 2 tests that were done?
2 tests similar to the liver and the femoral.
Okay, could you describe the results as far as the stomach contents, please?
Sure. We detected lidocaine in our basic drug screen and quantitated at 1.6 milligrams.
Please tell me it means
total drug, and that was performed by Cremlis Fu, as well as propofol, again, and we found 0.13 milligrams, and that was performed by the same analyst, Lintamut.
And again, can you explain that unit measurement as it differentiated from the other ones that were per mil?
Sure. Rather than report out a concentration, we do determine a concentration when we perform our analysis, but because we know the total volume or weight of the stomach when it's given to us, we actually do a multiplication and determine how much drug is still remaining in the stomach that has not been absorbed into the system yet. So that's what these numbers represent. It represents, lidocaine at 1.6 milligrams of drug that has not been absorbed into your system quite yet.
Thank you. Then proceeding with again, on page 5 of your report, the urine results. And the urine, again, as identified here, the urine results, since there are two, which urine result do these identify?
On page 5 of 8, this urine result reflects an autopsy urine, whereas the urine results on page 7 of 8 has a urine asterisk, and actually the asterisk represents urine that was collected from the plastic bottle while at the scene.
Okay. So let's begin then with the urine autopsy results. And if you can walk us through the first service listed being dipstick. What is that?
Dipstick is nothing more than, it's a simple test where it's almost like a pregnancy test, where you're dipping something into the urine, and it's a yay or nay, whether it turns a color or doesn't turn a color. And we're simply looking for, is there any type of glucose in that particular urine? And again, it lends itself to diabetic issues. And we're looking to see whether this particular decedent was spilling glucose into the urine. And in this case, it was negative. And an analyst named Joseph Muto, M-U-T-O, happened to perform that test.
All right. And the next service from the urine?
Yes. The rest of the services are very similar to the heart blood and hospital blood. Same type of drugs, acetaminophen or Tylenol, alcohol or ethanol, barbiturates, the lidocaine being present in the urine. Urine analysis is actually done, and it really represents a history. It just represents not only what somebody possibly could have done or used recently, but also represents days ago use too. So it doesn't mean a whole lot interpretively with a urine result, other than, yes, the person used at one time.
So as far as a analytical tool, analyzing the urine from a toxicologist's point of view is less valuable than the blood?
For interpretation purposes, yes. It gives a toxicologist an idea of what is in the system, but you need to evaluate what's going on in the blood, because the blood is what's affecting somebody immediately.
Okay. And the urine reflects what has essentially been, has gone through the body or the blood and has now been expelled from the body?
Yes.
Okay, following that, well, you've indicated, okay, that on this page 5 of 8, for the autopsy urine results as reflected on page 5 of 8, the only positive finding then was the presence of lidocaine conducted by a criminalist group?
Yes.
All right. Going on to page 6, which continues the autopsy urine results. Beginning with the first service, can you please describe that?
Again, the next two lines are more the benzodiazepines and how we looked at them. Midazolam being Versed, and it was detected at 6.8 nanograms per milliliter in the urine by a Robert Budd.
And the next, can you just walk us through these next grouping, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Next 8 tests that all show none detected. Can you describe those briefly, please?
Sure. Xalapon, which is your sleep aid, that was not detected. Cocaine and its metabolites, fentanyl, your F-chlorovinyl, as well as your trichloroethanol, your marijuana, your carboxy THC, as well as your tetrahydrocannabinol, which is your THC. Amphetamine, the methamphetamine tests were all ND, but we did detect ephedrine as present in and amongst this service.
Okay, this is a methamphetamine service for ephedrine, and it represents a unit finding of present.
Correct.
And going down then to the next methamphetamine service, describe that and the results, please.
Well, the methamphetamine was not detected by Oscar Fleites.
Okay. And the next then service neutrals. What is depicted on that line and what are the findings?
Propofol. I personally did the test, and detected propofol in the urine.